And I think it might have been the fact that I didn't measure anything because I was like, oh, you can't fuck this up. Just add
I
the
got
ingredients.
this.
If you don't have this
So I
ingredient,
went,
do it with this ingredient.
hi everybody, we're live. I'm
Hey,
gonna do the disclosures. I cut Rachel off completely so you don't have to listen to us yammering about Vin Shot. I was gonna talk about German dinner, but anyway,
but you want to know about
I'm
Vin
not a
Shaw.
lawyer.
So ask questions in the comments.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a licensed loan originator in the state of Michigan. I live in West Michigan. And Rachel,
Is a, what am I? I'm a real estate
badass.
agent. That's right. I'm actually a licensed real estate broker in the state of Michigan. Most of my business is in Southeast Michigan, but I do have the random file in Northern Michigan and all kinds of weird spots in our beautiful state. But what I am also not is I'm not a financial advisor, even though sometimes I talk about things that sound like they might be financial advice. Also,
So
not
do
an
I.
attorney. And I deal with contracts. So
Yeah.
cover my ass. Don't take my advice, except take my advice.
Yes.
Um,
So do you want to start?
sure.
What's your topic today, Rachel?
Okay, my topic today is I have some rambling. I got to wax poetic a little bit about Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, House, Hot Pads, like fill in the blank. There are
All
so
the
many people.
Redfin, all the places people go to find houses.
Yes,
What's wrong with those places?
there are a couple things I want to talk about, and I could go on and on there. I'm going to get the number in there so other people can call in if they want, because we forgot to invite you. If you want to come and be on the show, fucking call this number there. Wow.
We'll try to let you get a word in edgewise.
Yes. Anyway, um, so I got some good and some bad. That makes me want to sing Paul McCartney, Ebony and Ivory. Anyone? There is good and bad in everyone. I can't sing. Anyway,
Yes, you can.
here's what I, it doesn't sound nice. How about that? Um,
Okay, I'll give you that.
Super rabbit trail. I want to do a quick screen share, show you guys this thing. Right. Oh, that's not the one. Hold on. I got to get rid of that.
Because most people use Zillow or Redfin or Trulia. They download
For
the app and they can
sure.
they look at homes.
Yes.
I may or may not have the Zillow app on my phone right now. It just depends. I don't think I do right now, but I have had it multiple times and uninstalled it as well, just because I like to know how much the houses in my neighborhood sold for.
Yeah. So, and can you see the Zillow? Do you see my
Yes.
second screen?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, everybody looks for houses on a third party site. And what I see my clients doing a lot of is the market is so tight. And so people will be like, oh my God, okay, I'll look on Zillow. Okay, now I'm going to look on Trulia. Okay, now I'm going to look on Realtor.com. And I'm here to tell you it's all the same fucking inventory. And it all comes from the MLS except for the FSBOs, which is for sale by owner, and it's a terrible sounding acronym. I fucking hate the way it sounds, and I'm a language person. I feel like we could have done better with the poor for sale by owner people. Total, not even worth talking about. Just a little peek inside my brain. So here's the thing you need to know. One, don't check all the websites because it's the same damn information. I know you're spinning, but it's like opening the fridge 100 times to see if anything new is in there to eat. It's not. It's not. There's nothing new in there. So pick one and stick to it. That's advice number one. Advice number two, and I feel like most people know this, but I recognize that I am probably tainted by the fact that I am in this industry. So the fish in the water, I don't notice it. I figure everybody knows, but I constantly find people who don't know this. And I didn't know before I did this for a living. So let's say I'm shopping for a house in Howell and I see this Cloverview Lane house in Howell. Oh my God, that looks exactly like what I want. It just went on the market and I want to see the house. So I hit contact agent and look, I've got all of these. Oh, it's my friend Shane and Laura. Okay, I'm really glad I picked this because those two are amazing. I may believe that Shane and Laura are the listing agents for this house because they're showing up right here. And I'm here to tell you that that is not necessarily the case. So the agents that you see as available to contact on any one of these platforms pay to be there. And without going
To
too
be
far,
fair,
yes, we're going to talk about
can,
that
can
too.
I pause you just based on what
Yes,
we saw?
yes,
Shane and Laura appeared to be the listing agent, but it literally says seller's agent and everything
yes,
else says premier agent.
yes. And that,
Regardless, you are correct. They all paid to be there because if Shane and Laura didn't pay to be there, it seems like they should be because they're the listing agent, but they
well,
still have to pay to be there.
well, super important to keep track of. So it depends on how they pay, because at the brokerage level, often the brokerage may pay a fee to have the agents who list properties out of their brokerage show up first next to their own listings. Or
They should
Shane and
always be there. It's so dumb.
well, hold on. There's more. Shane and Laura may pay for Zillow leads in a different zip code. And so, because they're already customers of Zillow, Zillow says, well, any listing that you have with us, we'll put your name first, even if it's not in a zip code you're paying for. That's scenario number two. Scenario number three is the relationship rules between Zillow and the MLS, which is where all of these third party sites get their data. Like, they are all on a feed and they're buying the information from the MLS, which is provided by the realtors, which is, I mean, a total another rabbit trail about why real estate is still so fucking expensive. But let's put a pin in that. Let's put it in the parking lot. Sometimes Zillow or its cohorts may be required to put that agent, the listing agent, next to their own property. The rules are different. It varies state to state, region to region, and the rules change all the time. So what's happening now might be different in 6 months. I know when I first started buying Zillow leads, the rules were one way, and then they changed, and then they changed again, and now they changed again. And actually, in February, I stopped buying Zillow leads. I still market your
Good job.
properties on Zillow, but yeah, it's and that's a topic for another episode, and I don't want to get into any politics. But for the home buyer or seller out there, the important thing for you to know is who you're calling. So in and I don't want to tell you what to do, but you have no advantage by using the contact agent button on any listing.
You mean I don't get the house for cheaper if
That's
I
what I was going
use?
to say. So what if you think
Oh,
it's Shane
sorry.
and Laura and you're like, hey, Shane and Laura, I saw your listing on Cloverview. Well, Shane and Laura are going to try and pick you up as a buyer. They'll show you Cloverview, but first, if they're worth a shit, which they are, I love those two. They're going to find out if you already have an agent. So if you already have a fucking agent, don't call the agent through Zillow, because one, you're costing them money every time you call somebody. Oh, and pro tip for agents out there: if you just got a license, please don't use Zillow to find the contact info for the agent you're trying to find. Nothing more annoying. Like, get in the MLS and look it up. Yeah, I mean, short of, I guess, if you're trying to find an agent whose contact information is impossible to find, but they really
Oh,
should.
we could have a whole show on
Dude,
agents who's because I have to
they
enter
don't
stuff
want to be
on the
found.
closing disclosure.
You
I
Google
get
my
phone
name, you
numbers.
find my shit. Yep. But
Yes,
not all of
there are a
us.
lot of realtors. I Google their name and I'm not sure if it's a real person or if I'm misspelling stuff, but even like just make yourself easy to find. Marketing
Yes.
101.
Yes.
Please.
So let's come back to that too. So the same thing happens here on Trulia, which also think people don't know. Trulia and Zillow are the same company. They're owned by the same
Yep.
company. Zillow, I think, bought Trulia. And then Realtor.com. And Realtor.com, I think, is run by a realtor organization. And they're really, trying hard to compete with Zillow. But oh, this one in Howell, I think I have to go show that. So all of these platforms do a really good job of making the houses pretty to look at. So there's one other thing, and then we'll get off of this topic. I'm going to go back to Zillow because I want to show you. I don't know if the other websites have this feature, and I haven't dealt with it since I stopped buying leads from Zillow, but in which all of these entities are nothing more than advertising platforms for agents and lenders to buy marketing to find leads. Like, that's what the purpose of this organization is.
Yes, a lot of lenders will sponsor realtors to show up
Yes.
on their stuff. They
Oh,
will pay to be the uh, financing button
yes.
or whatever. So if it's free to you and it's free to use, somebody else is paying to be put in front of
Front
you.
of
So
you.
just keep that in
Exactly.
mind.
And interestingly, so when I did buy Zillow leads, and I wasn't even a very big player, I think at most I ever spent was $2,600 a month. And believe me, I want to throw up when I say that because it's not a high number in that world. Like you can't get jack shit for $500 a month, maybe 1,000, but $2,500 a month. And and I would choke on that number. I'm sorry, it was 26. And Zillow would say, well, why don't you have one of your lender partners pay for half of your advertising?
Oh, I
So then it
know.
becomes a almost RESPA violation,
Mhm.
but that's enough. And we can flush through that too. This is for,
RESPA is the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, which makes it illegal for me to pay a realtor for a
yes,
referral. Just so you know, I can't.
yes.
She can't pay me to take care of somebody, and I can't pay her to take care of somebody.
There's no
There's a gray line,
kickback
meaning
or bird dog
I
fee.
can.
You're keeping
However, I
the
will
market.
say I can think of we'll just go with Quicken. I can think of some more local ones, but everybody knows Quicken. Quicken has a realtor is
In-house
it
realtor.
sponsorship? An
Yeah.
in-house realtor relationship. So they're kicking the realtor money, but the realtor has to pay to be on the list. So if you call Quicken and they go, use one of our
Use one of
preferred
our
realtors to get a
preferred.
fake discount.
That's this. We just figured this out. Oh, Candace Shinjak is coming on the show. Just so you know, this is my broker's wife. So I'm a little nervous here.
Okay.
But say the thing you said. I want to finish my thought before I let her in. Oh,
Um,
preferred. Preferred means usually
preferred.
paid kickback. Preferred
Yeah.
kickback. Preferred kickback. So fucking be wary. Doesn't mean they're no good. It just means they paid to be there.
Yes.
I'm super nervous. I have no idea what Candace has
Why?
to say because Candace has never done this before, and I'm curious. Maybe I said something wrong and she's here to correct me. That's always my big fear, right? Because I'm kind of a know-it-all and I fucking can't stand being wrong. But I'm always open to learn and grow. So there's that. All right.
Wait,
Well,
how is it that I'm never wrong and you're never wrong and we still manage to hang out and have a good time? I don't
I
understand that.
flexible. I don't know because we know we're not never wrong. I don't know.
True.
I don't know. But while we wait for Candace to get in here, because I'm not sure what's going on there, I want to finish my thought about this. I'm still screen sharing, correct?
Yes.
So Zillow, your home buyer. I just did this search at the beginning of the week for Livingston County, and there were a total of like 275 houses.
That's more than last week.
When I
2 weeks ago,
back,
you said there were
well,
214.
that's okay. Maybe it's the same time. No, because when I back out rentals and new builds, that number drops into the 270 somethings. My point is what I'm walking the viewer toward is desperation and constantly looking in all the places that are actually all the same place. One pitfall for a lot of people is this right here. Zillow has this homes for sale foreclosures, and I'm going to click it so I can show you because people, especially people in lower price ranges, because it's so competitive. And if you need an FHA mortgage or my favorite, and I understand the dream because I have it too, to find a fixer upper with good bones and buy it for cheap and just put some sweat equity into it. You can't fucking compete against cash, and that's who's buying those houses. The other ones, the ones that you can afford, are not financeable. So again, it's cash, and that's why they go for so cheap. But this inventory here is when it says pre-foreclosure, I want you to know that that's fucking bullshit and that property is
That's nothing.
not available for sale. So pre-foreclosure, there are public records available and filings that happen when a lending institution initiates foreclosure action. So
There's
Zillow,
notices in the newspaper.
yes. So Zillow buys or culls this information somehow. And for this one, for example, this could be an old listing picture. So they have the data from multiple sources. If you call me wanting to know about 1579 Copperfield Court, my answer is this. We can watch it, and but what the lender typically is going to do, and I know I'm dominating here, so let me just get through this and I'll shut up. They are first of all, they have to wait until it's actually foreclosed. So sheriff's sale or cash for keys. Then they own the property, then they have the right to sell it. And what they're going to do is maybe throw some money at it because they're not stupid and they now have huge branches of their organizations that know how to deal with foreclosures because they learned that the hard way during the last financial crisis. So they're going to throw some money at it, put it on the market for a reasonable price, and then hire an agent to put the damn thing on the market. And then it's for sale. But when it's this pre foreclosure,
Can I
it's,
can
and
I just
Candace,
point out,
yes, and Candace, real quick, I'm just muting you. In case she wants to say something, she has to unmute herself. Go ahead.
I just wanted to point out this pre-foreclosure bit. If you look at the days they've been on Zillow, so
Yes, here.
there are not many houses that have been on the market for a year. These are really
No.
not for sale. So, and you would have to understand the foreclosure process. If you miss enough payments, foreclosure begins. You have 6 months to redeem your property. Redeem your property means sell it and pay off your note,
Yes.
or catch up everything. So if you don't have the money to catch up everything, you and I've talked about that,
Yes.
you can sell it. The vast majority
Yes.
of people in this market, because housing inventory is so low, choose to, if you're underwater, or you can't make the payment, say you got fired or laid off during COVID and it's been, you took the forbearance, and say it continues for 8 more months,
Or none
and
of
you
that.
truly
You're
are
just
in
like,
despair,
shit, this payment
sell
is
your
way
house.
more than I thought. I got to get
Yes.
out of this thing.
Yeah. But if you see anything that's been on the market for 360 days, I just urge you to maybe pause and not get excited. How about that?
Yeah. And that's, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to watch people get so excited and get devastated. And that's what starts to happen, right? You go, oh, I'll look here. Nope. Oh, there's my possibility. Nope. Oh, and,
Hmm.
and it sucks. And
Oh,
again,
and a lot of people are going that route. I understand the sweat equity, all that, the for sale by owners, there, and going
yes.
to multiple sources because inventory is so short. And I think the cost of housing over last year is up nationwide on average 9.2%,
Wow.
meaning it's about 10% more to buy a house than it was last year. Builders are building. We've talked about the cost of construction materials. We've talked about
Tripled.
the time it takes. We've talked about trade shortages. Everybody wants a house. Nobody wants to fucking be a plumber or an electrician or a carpenter to actually build the house. They still want lumber for, $4 a board when they're $30 a board, but they still want, which has to do with Joe and the cost of replacement. My house, the cost to replace it with the same quality of building materials would be way more than it was in 1974 when the house was built,
Right.
which is why the
But
insurance coverage is so much more than what you pay
I
for a
mean,
house. But
you got to look at the historical value of the money compared to the current value of the money. Is it really more expensive or is it just a bigger
oh,
number?
do you want me to get the calculator, the cost of living equation calculator? Because I think we
Or
touched on that probably in episode like
yeah,
5,
well, more
right?
than more than the cost of living though, too. The value of the dollar is in there
Mm-hmm.
too, and there it's also connected. You know what this is pointing to? When is the best time to buy a house, Cassandra?
When you need one.
Whoa! What are you talking about? Oh, hold on.
Uh-huh.
What? No.
When you need one.
When you
Yes.
need one. Wait, what's the
Yes.
other one you do? This. Woo, I like this one
That.
better.
It's
It's so
because I have to wear
sassy.
this, and
Oh, oh, I
it's a
see.
little what's that movie with the crazy dude
Yes,
with
yes.
somebody knows,
Opera.
somebody
Phantom
tell
of
me.
the Opera? No, no.
No.
Um,
I was thinking the Burgess one. I don't know. I'll have to look. Adam's got a shirt with a weirdness on it.
okay,
Anyway.
so there's the Zillow and marketing conversation. Zillow, Realtor, Trulia, they're paying for your eyeballs and it's agents paying for your phone calls. Alex Johnson also entering the waiting room. I'm going to let him in too. And now he's gone.
Awesome.
Thanks, Alex, for teasing us with what you were maybe going to say. We can only speculate. So yeah, next. What time is it? Okay, we're good. Next is, well, why don't you go? Let's talk about FISBO and that terrible word. And then we'll go back to should you get a real estate license? Because I meant to talk about this last week. I was a little off because we were doing some sad things, but I had a thought this morning. I guess I'll just say the thought, then we'll talk about your thing.
Go ahead.
Ah, okay, so I know it's not even worth the lean in, but everybody and their brother wants to get a real estate license. And I've talked about this before. If you want to get one, fucking get one. Scratch the itch and figure it out. Like, because people will, hey, Rachel, I really want to do what you're doing. How can I, should I, blah, blah, part time until I retire? And then, or when I retire, I'm going to do it because evenings and weekends and I'll have all this free time. And people don't, agents do a terrible job of letting anybody see how hard this job actually is. And I don't mean like hard, like
Yeah,
digging.
why don't you guys, why don't realtors truly let people know all that goes into it? You all want to make it seem easy, like, oh, I'll just list your house and put a sign in the yard and sell it. There's so much more than that.
Well, part of it I think is so many agents do 2 deals a year, and that can be really fucking easy. And even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. So if you've got it's such a high revolving door, you've got constant influx of new agents going, I'm fresh faced and I'm going to do this and it's going to be awesome and I'm going to be famous and whatever the fuck they think. They want a picture of their face on a sign in front of your house. And it might be more about some other things versus being of
Can we
service.
talk about the pictures? We keep saying we're going to talk about the picture, but
we can. Yes. Let's do it. What other business do people put their fucking face on their business cards? But it's a people business.
or their car.
Hey, I have my face on my car.
I know.
I did. And you know what?
I know.
Every parent of every kid at my kid's school knew who I was because of drop warnings. Okay, what was our topic? Oh, okay. So the real estate license, should you get one? So here's the thing. It's really easy and it's really cheap. So you take the class, 40 hours, take the test, $75 or $77, get your fucking license, and I'll train you. I'll show you because the only way to find out if you can do it is to try it. And or Candace, any agent worth a shit really is happy to share everything that they know. We're all open books, because what happens when you tell everybody exactly what you're doing and how to do it is they either walk away because it's too much work, or they go, oh yeah, I'll do that someday. And then they don't fucking do anything. Right?
Can I just tell you,
yes.
There's not a lot of transparency in what you do.
No. Oh, here's
I don't know what people think. I know what you do. It sounds awful. Like I would never want to do what you do. You drive around all over the state and try to work from your car and eat weird nuts buried in your seat and you just crap in your car all the time. Like, and you are a mental counselor to people freaking out, justifiably so, over a gigantic purchase. I'm so glad I don't have that. They give me papers.
So when I see what you do as also very hard, crunching numbers, keeping track of documents, dotting all the I's and crossing the T's, and that's just not my wheelhouse. Why are brokerage services so expensive? Because the good ones, this is why I make the big bucks. This is what I tell my clients. I was negotiating a deal at 9:30 last night while I was driving home after doing some do good deeds for a fundraiser, because the deal still needed to be negotiated. So I'm not saying like, oh, I'm fucking amazing. I'm saying I was doing my fucking job and I charge a lot of money. That's why.
This is one of those professions.
Stop. I got to get this thought out of my head, because like 3 times you've said, why doesn't anybody know how hard it is? Because 20% who are doing 80% of the work, like, right, the 80-20 rule is everywhere in life. So the 20% of agents, and I am in that 20, I'm actually higher than 20%, but that's different talk.
Pat yourself on the back now. Pat it now.
Oh, I will. All right. The 20% of the agents doing 80% of the work are doing it because they fucking love it, and we're too busy doing the work to be like, oh, look at what I'm doing. Oh, I mean, believe me, I have my moments where I'm like, oh, my clients suck and the deals are all hairy and I'm hating today. But those moments are short-lived, because my next thought is, all right, how can I pull this together for my client? I'm not over there crying about, look at how much work I do. And, because I'm busy doing it. That's why you don't know how hard my job is. And I love it. So it doesn't feel like work to me.
So I'm just gonna transition us into FISBO
Yes. Okay.
because so this is something I do more. Oh wait, Candace, go ahead.
The thing is, can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you for
Okay.
coming. By the way,
Is what we do. The reason they don't know how hard we work is because we do it so well and it's transparent to them. And they don't know about all the shit and crap that we have to
no.
do.
Yes.
So I think that we do a fabulous job of keeping them out of the mud.
Yes. I like that. Keeping them out of the mud. Cassandra and I used to say that you know that you have a good agent and a good loan officer if it seems too easy from the client perspective. Do you remember having those talks, Cassandra? Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Keeping them out of the mud.
Okay, now go for sale by owner.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, so I get some for sale by owner people as a loan officer, and I'm sure you realtors and brokers get some eventually if it doesn't go well. I
Also,
know there are
and
statistics.
when
And
it
I,
does go well, I've had buyers want to buy a for sale by owner, and I still
okay.
do that job. Yeah.
Yes. So I had somebody recently who wanted to do a for sale by owner. I've bought 5 houses and it should be easy and I know what I'm doing. So let me tell you, they don't have a contract. They don't know how to read a contract. They questioned every fee on the sheet that the title company gave them. They wanted to present the seller with the seller's net sheet. They didn't know the name of that document, but I obviously did. So while I'm capable of helping, I am not I am not a lawyer, and I am like to negotiate and know what is standard and what is common. I have a woman right now who did not use a realtor, and she's confident that the listing agent is out to get her. Yeah. So unless you know exactly what you're doing, you know what? If you want to come to somebody with a contract already done, fucking great. But if you're going to lean on title and your loan officer because you don't know fucking jack shit, I got news for you. Everybody's swamped. We're all super busy. You are a time suck and you're trying to save $3,000. Like, not even money out of your pocket. You're saving phantom money, and the seller's losing money because they're listing it for less in order to save money.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
with time. That's all. And everybody who could do all of the other files at their usual rate, let's say at the end of the day, if you do the math and that loan officer is making X dollars an hour, and here you come making them work 5 times as hard for less money, over $3,000. That's phantom money, not real.
It's fake money.
So you got a stack of, I'm going to do this. You got a stack of files that look like that. Guess where yours goes? Somewhere else. It's not going in the to be dealt with file. Now
it's the equivalent of
work on this.
Okay, so let me try again. Hire a professional. It's the equivalent of somebody with no electrical or plumbing experience or construction experience, because there's a trade shortage, deciding to buy their own or build their own house. You don't know what you're doing. Just because you read a book doesn't mean you have training. You're not licensed in it. Leave it to the professionals for a better experience and less stress and a happier life. Just hire a professional. Doesn't have to be me. Doesn't have to be her.
Well, let's
anybody.
Deep dive a little bit into that, because it's a really good analogy. Hiring a professional to build your house. And I think the mindset often is that it's more like watching a YouTube video to figure out how to change a light switch, but you really are building the whole house.
It's the most expensive thing that you're going to sell in your life, and you're going to try to do it yourself.
And and here's the other thing.
Exactly.
Though, I don't want to. There's never 100% anything. So some people do it and do it well, and they do know what they're doing. But I think it's another 80-20 rule, you know? So maybe just give it some thought before you decide for sure.
So do either of you have the numbers on how much more if I was going to sell my house and I was like, oh, I think it's worth $250, And so I list it for 250 because I'm way too emotionally attached. But I thought that homes using realtors actually listed for more and sold for more and sold for, 99%, 98% of their listing value, in addition to having the buyers being vetted. And I mean, there
So
are
here's
real
the thing.
benefits to using a professional if it's about the money.
13. So
There's benefits with the experience.
this answer changes depending on the
Right.
source and over time, because I've seen it 19%, 24%, but quick Google search right now. And please understand that usually these numbers are provided by agent friendly sources. So always consider the source, right? If it's the National Association of Realtors telling you that it's 19% more for your house if you use an agent, they might be looking at a particular set of numbers to get that answer. But what I see right now, FSBOs typically have a lower median selling price. Thus, the typical agent assisted home sale has a 13% higher sales price than the typical FSBO. That is from April of 2015. And the source is realestatedecoded.com.
Can
Who
we get
owns
some
that
older
source?
data? Let's get
I-
older
Rachel.
data.
If we could go back to 1990s, that would be
Go ahead,
amazing.
Candace.
The person who owns for sale by owner would never buy his house without an agent.
No, it's
True.
the same psychology behind a buyer wanting the seller to fix everything on the house they're buying and being offended when their buyer comes with an inspection report full of shit that needs to be fixed. It's a disconnect.
It's like the Zillow Zestimate and the owner of Zillow's home selling for considerably less than his own company valued his home at. Like, a lot of it comes down to algorithms in terms of what the value of your home is listed on those websites you talked about, where most people find their data.
Yes.
You know that you have better sources. I have better sources.
Yes.
And we are trained and we're licensed to actually, you're trained and licensed to value a house.
Yes.
And do it correctly. And you're telling me 13% higher sales price? Well, you just paid for yourself and my experience is going to be better, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, since we're talking about the cost of an agent, I think it's an incomplete equation for a seller to say, well, if I don't hire an agent, I save the commission, because all of the comparable sales that you are looking at used agencies, and you don't have a dime to pay anybody unless the buyer shows up with the money. My contention is that the buyer pays the brokerages, not the seller, because if agency goes away, I do think house property sale prices will decrease across the board. The cost of the services built into the transaction, because all of your comps have that cost built into them. That's just my, I think you have to do the whole math. You can't just look at half of the equation and go like, well, I'm the seller and I shouldn't have to pay anybody and I'll do it myself. Well, you can, but the buyer wants to save that money too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Having said all that, sometimes I have done a really shitty job painting my own walls and wishing I had hired a professional.
I hired somebody to paint my ceilings
Mhm.
because I'm not painting my ceilings. Could I? Sure. Is it a good idea? No.
But every now, I mean, I'm not arguing for like, yes, do FSBO, but I understand the choice, and it is a choice.
Sure.
So maybe just know what you're getting into. And honestly, in this market, it's almost too easy to sell a house. But how will you know if you got the best price? Because boy, unless you know how to navigate 12 offers side by side and understand what they all say for real,
so I
more
did
than
want to
just
say,
purchase
if you're thinking of listing FSBO, I did
Yeah.
talk with somebody who's thinking of listing FSBO, and I said, do yourself a favor. If you're going to list it on Zillow, the first line needs to be, I will pay 3% of the realtor commission to
Buyer
whoever
agent.
brings the buyer, right? To the realtor. And he's like, well, I could just list it for less. And I said, I'm telling you, you will get more showings. The people will be vetted. Just you'll be able to sell it for a higher price. And therefore, you're going to walk away with the same amount of money. So pay for the realtor who brings the buyer. Don't be stingy and say, I'm only selling to an individual, or the buyer has to pay for their own realtor, because most buyers won't do that. They just
here's
won't.
what happens. This is like marketing. So going FISBO,
I know.
like you go, there's this many people, and if you're only going to sell to people without an agent because you need to save that $3,000, your pool of buyers just went like this. And now you got to find those people. Good fucking luck.
Well, that and realtors, you all have the buyers. So
that's what I'm
saying.
I
know you're not supposed to do this, and I'm not accusing anybody of doing this, but
I don't do what you're about to do.
You know what I'm going to say.
Yes.
There are a huge, I would guess, majority of realtors who will be like, well, I'm not getting paid. I'm not even going to show the house. Like, why would I even waste my time if the seller's not going to pay me?
That's unfortunate, because an agent who knows what they're doing can figure out a way to incorporate their compensation, or better yet, have a conversation with the seller about the holistic nature of the cost of agency.
Well, and so what I was trying to do in telling him to just put the verbiage on the listing was to save the buyer's agent any worry, any stress, that negotiation of
Michelle Hurst makes a good comment.
Cost.
Yes, that, and buyers might be turned away because they may incorrectly believe that if they buy a house from a for sale by owner, that they have to write a check to their buyer's agent brokerage, and that's not necessary.
Oh, I had that once
either. It can be, but like all things real estate, it depends. The answer is always it depends. So you need more information before you know how your situation plays out.
Yeah.
So Michelle Hurst makes a really good comment too, and I second this. Getting the offer is usually the easy part, and that is so true. Like, the fun, easy part of my job is, I call it doorknobs and light switches. So I play the light switch game. I get to see people's houses. It's cool and fun. That's not the work. I mean, it is work, don't get me wrong, but it's not the hard, heavy lifting piece. And that's, I think, her point in the conversation about doing a for sale by owner is you also have to navigate from getting the buyer to the closing table. And that can be mud that Candace was talking about earlier.
True.
What other topics did we have?
So I had a topic about timeliness of documents.
Oh, you did. So okay, but I have to say that should you get a real estate license? Because I never finished this. The thought I had this morning, yes, you should get it. I always have this like notion that people want to do part-time agency and it's not very lucrative. But then I was like, well, maybe it is. If you have a real job, and you can do 2 to 4 real estate deals a year, which you probably could do without a whole lot of out-of-pocket cost, that could be like an extra, like 20 grand a year. So I feel like the sweet spot to have a real estate license is either all in, and this is what you do, which is my life, or it is kind of your part-time gig, but then you're not going to be very good at it. So I don't know. That was my thought. It's not really coherent.
Well,
you go.
So,
let's talk about
I was just going to say, there's the whole anything worth doing is worth doing half-assed, meaning you're better off jogging around the block than sitting on your ass. You're better off getting the license than wondering if you should have got your license. Like, you're better off doing 2 problems on the homework versus no problems on the homework. So at least do it half-ass. If it's in there, if it's in your mind, I'll post a link to where to get your license or take the test, which I've been meaning to do forever. Just to.
We're supposed to swap in February. Once I'm done with my master's, I'm getting my master's degree. Don't know if I mentioned that. Well,
pat yourself on the back again, Rachel.
Okay. The other side needs a pat. It's getting uneven. I'm going to get my.
What are you getting a master's in what?
MBA, just a master's in business administration.
Good for you.
Check the box.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I don't know how to run a fucking business, and I need to know how to run my business. I can real estate all day long, but running this company, I'm too busy selling houses.
You should hire a professional, Rachel.
Yeah.
No, I'm becoming the professional.
Manager.
I'm
Mr.
on.
Manager.
Yeah.
Mr. Manager of the banana.
And a
stand.
wife. And a wife to do all the cleaning and the,
Right?
Yes.
I wish
Okay,
I
let's
had
talk,
one.
let's talk
All
about
that.
documents, Cassandra, because you've got 3
Yo,
minutes.
I'll keep
I
it
think
short.
this is, no, go the full 3 minutes because documents are super important.
Okay. I could lose my mind on this one. Documents. When you buy a house, you're going to have to give documents. If
Wait,
you are
let's stop.
timely with those documents,
When you borrow hundreds of thousands of dollars, you're not just buying a house, you're fucking borrowing ginormous amounts of money. You have to do what?
so you're going to have to provide some documents. I can tell you that if you provide the document needs to be the whole page, legible. Don't give pushback on what they are. Don't give me the why do you need that. It's like literally because I want to make it hard and a pain in your ass. I don't ask for anything that.
Stop. You are like a robot and you're really choppy. Did somebody in your house start streaming a YouTube video or something?
I don't think so.
Okay, now you're normal. So start over because I know what you were saying was really important and we heard none of it.
Okay.
No pressure.
You're going to have to, so let me see if I can get some passion back. When you're borrowing hundreds of thousands of dollars, you will have to provide documents, hundreds of thousands. Make sure you're sending what is requested. Please don't write about in the entirety. I'll take them one at a time. If you can only manage to get one W-2 on Tuesday and one W-2 on Wednesday and one in one pay stub, send the freaking documents as fast as you can so you can close as fast as you can. Make sure it's not a blurry picture. I can convert it to a PDF, but it can't be a blurry picture. Please don't bitch. Oh, I need the pension award letter. I don't have that. You know what? Go find out how to do it. Call your pension company and find out. They are asking me for this document. I have all the patience in the world helping people, but if you're not giving me documents back, I want it more than you. And that doesn't work. I can't drag your ass to the finish line and force you to get these keys. You have to put in some of the work and be responsive. And I guarantee you, every loan officer is going to love you. You're going to be at the top of the underwriting list. You are going to breeze through and feel like it was a pleasure to buy a house. I promise.
Let's circle back to, because we lose sight of the fact that, and I talked about this before, we lose sight of the fact that you're not entitled to borrow gigantic sums of money from people who don't even know you. So you have to show on paper and jump through the hoops that are determined by the people who have the money to loan you. So I know it's frustrating. Believe me, as a self-employed, when I need to do mortgage stuff, Cassandra needs some weird crap from me, and I am not a type A personality, so I don't know where that crap is. So 100% of the time, I have to call all the people who may have touched this and say, can you make me this document, or where do I find this? Because none of it's in one spot in an organized fashion. But if I want to borrow $300,000, I'm going to jump through that hoop. Or
can I also just make this?
Ask all my friends for $1,000 each, and hopefully I have 300 friends who are willing to give me $1,000 each. It's a different set of problems, though. Did I do the math right?
Yeah, I did it in my head. Yes, you did. So I was also can I just dispel a myth of something that people think that they can do? And I say this because I've been asked it probably 10 times, which means people think this is possible. No, you cannot refinance, take $40,000 out of your house, lower your payment, and cut 10 years off your mortgage. That combination, unless you have an 8% rate right now, the combo of cash back, lower payment, shorter term, and you don't want to increase the loan balance somehow, magic. people think all of these things are possible, and maybe that they'll get paid to refinance too. Like, just the combo doesn't exist. Rates are fantastic. They're not zero or in the negatives, and that's the only way that's feasible. So I just have to put that out. I have a lot of people go, I'd like a lower payment and I want to cut 10 years off. I'd like 20 grand back. And, okay.
It's like trying to go on vacation and stop and see Aunt Mary and go to Disneyland, and while you're there, get that liposuction you've been thinking about. Like, you're just trying to jam too much
No,
into one
it's the equivalent of all three of the bubbles. It's the equivalent of location, price, and what's the other one?
condition, style of house. The three circles.
Yes, location,
Listen,
price, style of house. It's like the
also-
trifecta.
Listen, my analogy works. It's all trying to do all the vacation
It's
things.
also
in one
like
trip. You can't do
vacationing with Disney World and Aunt Mary. You're right.
that. And don't forget the liposuction. Okay.
And the
listen,
liposuction.
We're way over time. So Ina Molatoris, I know I'm saying your name wrong and I'm really sorry, has posted a question. She's planning to sell her house by owner. So if anybody has watched this far in, what steps should I make? So if you're going forward with this, if you have a real estate agent friend, talk to that real estate agent friend, which I think we already checked that box. So here's what I say.
You can also reach out to a title company who will give you a packet that you can read. I'm just saying.
That's true. I know. But I know I do this to you too. But you interrupt what I'm saying to say what I was going to say. And it leaves me with nothing to say.
I thought your pause. Oh, I didn't know that's what you were going to say.
I know you
I thought you were going to go on realtor stuff.
No, but I will. So the main thing you should do is hire a professional to take your pictures. If I'm giving you one piece of advice, get a professional. I know your iPhone takes good pictures, but you are not a photographer, and your iPhone pictures are not as good as you think. And a good photographer can take pictures that will look good on any screen. Okay. What, Cassandra, give one. Candace, I'm going to call on you too. One tip for my friend Ina, doing a for sale by owner. I say get good pictures. Cassandra says call the title company, get a package.
I say call the title company for a copy of all that jazz. Yes.
Package. Candace,
contracts.
what you say?
I just definitely think they need to talk to a real estate agent. To be perfectly honest with you, I tried to do a for sale by owner once. Back in the 90s, I was going to sell my own house. And for one split second, I put the sign out and pulled it out and thought, why?
And then you got
I want it to go smooth. Yeah, I want it to go smooth. And I think that that person, I'd say, what are your expectations? How do you think it's going to go, and what's your past experience?
There it is. If you're going to do a for sale by owner, you know what you should do? Get a real estate license.
Mm-hmm.
It's a match made in heaven.
Yeah. It's not.
On that note, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Things can go wrong.
Peace out, Girl Scouts. We are 5 over. So love you. See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Nice to see you, Candace.
Nice to see you.